Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Payoff Pitch presented by Fantasy Phenom. I'm Kyle. That's Mike. Money Mike Pinder. We're
back in the building. That's right. Coming up, I guess it is Wednesday now. For those of you that rock with us, tuning in live, always got to show love to y'all. And for those of you that, have things to do and are listening to us tomorrow, shout out to all you guys. I think 14-game slate is almost dead and gone. We've got the Yankees and the Angels currently in the 10th inning, but we've decided to just go ahead and get this thing started, man.
Okay, couple things just to touch on real quick. I always like to give you guys a little recap of where we're at. So,
sir,
first of all, shout out to J. Mitch from the Fantasy Phenom. Took second in a GPP as long as nothing crazy happens in this game. He looks like he's in the clear. Knock on wood. I have some right there. That's knocking. Also, the free rolls today were popping. We've never had to make a third FanDuel contest before, and even that one almost filled up today. So shout out to you guys. I love the competition that's going on. A lot of friendly back and forth in the River group about who's going to win. And I think, there's something to be said about when everybody in the group is feeding off of the friendly competition. You know that for the most part, people are doing well. Obviously, no one's going to cash every night. But there's something to be said about the fact that, people are having success to where they want to stay and they're confident enough and involved in the friendly competition.
Who doesn't like friendly competition, man? Especially when you're bickering back and forth about, no, this play is good. No, that play sucks. This play is good. That's what we do all day. I mean, obviously not on that childish level. Of course not. We would never do anything like that. But, that's what the whole community is all about, talking back and forth, bringing your own research to the table, bringing your own lineup construction to the table. And by competing in the free roll, not only are you competing for some potential free prizes using our scoring system, but you get to see everybody's lineups, see who plays who. And it's fun, man. It's a lot of fun. I think this free roll thing works out for so many different reasons. I'm happy we continue to do it. So if you're not joined in the Fantasy Phenom DraftKings League, get in there. You'll get notifications every time I create a new tournament, no matter what sport it is, for the free roll. And then, obviously, the FanDuel free rolls are done a little bit differently. We have to, we either tweet those out or we share them within the River group. So that's how it's all set up.
Also, I just want to say, I took 10th today in the DraftKings free roll, and I don't even play DraftKings that often, so fire. We got Josh to join the FanDuel one.
That's right. Yeah, that's another good point, man. I mean, if you say you're strictly a FanDuel player and you want to try DraftKings out, that's another good way to use it. Free rolls are fun, man. I enjoy it a lot. And again, we have it. If you are a member of the Phenom, you will get attached to a scoring system, or even if you're not, and by the end of the season, if you become one, you will qualify if you are top 20 in scoring and to that bracket challenge, man. We're giving away some free stuff. So
facts.
Good stuff, Jay Mitch. Congrats, man. What was his score? I know he had like 6 bombs on that lineup on FanDuel.
278.8.
Crazy. So, good night, and I'm telling you, your night's gonna come. Your night's gonna come. You play this every day. You're watching us. You're in the community. Your night's gonna come, man. I have full faith in that.
Facts. I cashed very well again tonight. It's 4 days in a row of profit. Knock on wood, let's make that 5 tomorrow. I have built my bankroll up from $40 4 days ago up to $240 today. So, or by the time the night ends. So, I'm going to say that's successful. Yeah, man.
Oh yeah, it
we,
is.
we, we talked about the Atlanta stack, the Seattle stack. Again, I know that these weren't the highest scoring stacks, but they cashed extremely easily because they did well. On a normal slate, the fact that Seattle scored 7 runs would have done very well. Like, that's nothing to scoff at. You know what I mean? Atlanta scored, how many did they score? 5?
Yeah, it
Dansby
was
Swanson.
10-5 Washington.
Dansby Swanson and Rio Ruiz talked about that 7-8 2-man right there. I stacked 5, 6, 7, 8, but having 7 and 8 at sub 1% ownership just absolutely boosted me. That was awesome. So no complaints there. But I think we gotta, at least I have a system that's finally working, and so I bring that to you guys. Help put you on the plays I'm looking at and where my system's looking at on the lock show. And if it helps you, run with it, man. And feel free to hit me up, man. I'll tell you exactly where I'm looking at if you weren't able to catch the lock show. You're still confused, like, yeah, what are your, where are you, what's your top plays? I'll tell you exactly where I'm looking.
Got to trust the process, right? It all comes down to it. I know Kyle and I bicker back and forth a lot. We have different processes. We do, man. I mean, I broke my streak. I had cashed 5 slates in a row up until today. My process is to pay up for pitching, and that just wasn't the thing to do today. I mean, obviously, John Lester was the top scoring pitcher, and I consider that paying up, but I went other places. Your top 3 pitchers today were John Lester, Jacob Faria, who we talked about last night, is to keep an eye on, and Clayton Richard, who I kind of a left field pick for me. I wasn't totally surprised, but still, as a top 3 pitcher, I wouldn't have bet on that. Brad Peacock was number 4. Jose Urena, number 5, as your top 5 scoring pitchers on DraftKings. Ton of double dongs tonight. Eddie Rosario with 3 home runs. Cody Bellinger, 2. Zimmerman, French, Cordero, 2. Odor's back on the hot streak. McCutcheon stays red hot. So high scoring day today in fantasy DFS baseball.
So, fun fact, you talk about it was high scoring. You want to know the best part about that is the cash lines. Because the chalk absolutely busted everywhere tonight.
Mm-hmm.
We have one of the higher scoring days. The cash line and double ups was 118
On FanDuel?
on FanDuel.
Dang.
That's why I was saying, right?
Not in tournaments, right?
Well, the cash line in tournaments was only 149 on such a high scoring slate. It's usually we're looking at 180. The chalk was so bad today. David Price, Clayton Kershaw, neither of them performed well by their standards for their price, and so the cash lines were just terribly low. And if you had anything contrarian, you cashed.
Yeah, generally speaking, I think on slates like this, with this, the chalk doesn't do anything. This is another part of the strategy. I mean, we talk about with especially playing cash games. Is another reason why not you don't fade the chalk, because you're not going to get killed, right? By doing so.
But I do in that, so I think it's a strategy to playing chalk, but also having some lower owned guys. Those were Atlanta for me in the cash games today. I played Atlanta in all my double ups, and I talk about Swanson and Ruiz. They're risky, right? But if they go off, I'm immediately separated. And once that Atlanta game finished, even with all the rest of the games left, because I knew of the chalk, I was cashing comfortably, and I still haven't looked back. So,
and your punts, man. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's risky, but it's something I definitely have to do.
All right, well, let's talk about this Oakland-Miami game. It is only on the all-day slate, so...
just kind of touch on it.
Yeah, Daniel Gossett making his major league appearance. You said he was drafted in which round?
Second-round draft pick out of college, and he has only been in the minors like 2 or 3 years. He's a Baseball America top 20, I believe. I don't know if he's top 20, but he's definitely a top prospect in their system. Getting the call up, I mean, they've called up other guys. So we talked about it. Yesterday about how with Martez, about how they kind of called up other guys before their top prospect, but they're bringing him up now. Andrew Triggs on the 10-day DL with a hip strain. I don't know. I think he can earn a spot. I mean, it's Billy Beane in Oakland, right? So if he goes out here as a top prospect and pitches lights out, I'm sure he could probably stay here for a second start and maybe in third one. And if Cotton continues to pitch poorly like he did today, he gets back on the shuttle.
I'm with you. Decent stuff in the minors in terms of K rate. I wouldn't say his most K upside. He's averaging about a K per inning. 54 strikeouts in 60 innings this year. He's got 332 innings pitched in the minors over the 3 years. And I believe he's at 284 strikeouts. Don't quote me on the actual number. Rhino's in the building too. We got everybody here. Mo, Rhino.
Everybody. Talking about some dude named Dossett.
Gossett, not Dossett.
Oh, man. Dang. Sorry, Gossett.
And then what about Edison Volquez, dude? Dude is putting together a really nice season after his rough start. Put a string of good starts. Amazing
He got that win, remember?
Dude,
It all comes back to that win.
He got that monkey off his back, and then he's just free.
Yeah, he what was it? He went like 8 straight starts without a win, or probably more than that. It went dated back to August, and they finally got that win, which was a no-hitter, or was the start before the no-hitter?
Before the no-hitter, and then he went out and threw a no-hitter against Diamondbacks, shut down the Pirates last time, yep.
3 straight. So, somebody I'm looking at. I don't really. You're not going to play this main slate unless you like. To me, in my opinion, I don't play this all day unless you like.
Unless you really want to play one of these teams.
It's extremely risky, man. You're playing it without lineups in any of the other games. Maybe you get some of the afternoon lineups, but that's it. But yeah, Volquez is definitely something to keep an eye on. I mean, as a DFS player, you're going to be interested in this game. Gossett making his major league debut. Volquez, has some upside and he's on a streak. So playing a subpar opponent. You also got Miami, who's been a surprising offense, obviously up and down a bit, but definitely you got to keep an eye on this game if you're playing DFS every day.
That's fair. All right, we got a 3-game early slate starting at 3:40 East Coast time. Very doable from the West Coast finally. I hate these 9 a.m. slates. Not that I can't get up early, it's just I feel like it's so early. But it's early for baseball to me. 10 a.m. is more doable, but 12
hey man, let's talk about that, man. Day game after a night game. It's early for you. These guys are getting up mad early to get to the ballpark. They just played a game tonight. We talk about it every once in a while, but it's day game after a night game here.
Well, you'll obviously see some resting, right?
Yeah. So lineups are getting shaken up a bit. You see some bench players playing tomorrow.
That I will say, I don't think it affects pitchers because typically these guys will go home. There's no intent on pitching them in the game the night game before, so oftentimes they'll probably go home 5th, 6th inning. So
it affects them in the sense that there could be some backups in the lineup, though.
Well, it can give them an advantage.
Right.
Yeah, but in terms of their performance, I don't think it affects them, but it definitely
disadvantage type way.
Yeah.
So, 3-game early slate, that gives you 6 starting pitchers. Again, I don't like playing these kind of slates on DraftKings, but I think we talk about the home splits with Wally Chacin. I don't think he got that win, but he looked good.
Dude, his home road splits are ridiculous, and they remain ridiculous. At home versus the Cincy lineup that Clayton Richard just shut down again, they have not been impressive the last couple games. On a cold streak, so I think
they don't like Cali.
He's firmly in play, man.
In a 3-game slate, he's firmly in play. I agree. I think he's probably one of the better options on this 3-game slate.
Am I crazy for saying that Chacin might be safer than Johnny Cueto?
You mean from a price standpoint? Or from playing your one cash pitcher, you just want to lock in Chacin? I mean, who do you want to pay up to? You're saying you'd leave that $3K on the table? And have the same lineup with the same backs?
No, not necessarily, but I guess from a roster construction standpoint, I don't know. I just see Johnny Cueto, I feel like, given the circumstances, Chacin at home, how ridiculously good he's been, is it crazy to consider him a cash pitcher at this point, as opposed, a safe play?
I think he's a cash pitcher. I wouldn't venture to say that, especially on this slate. I think him and Cueto are the 2 guys that I immediately gravitated to. So, kind of just comes down to what you want to do with your bats. If you don't find there's any value after these lineups come out tomorrow, and you don't feel comfortable with what you got as far as bats, I don't see why you have to shove Cueto in your lineup.
I agree. And then on the flip, maybe I got a wild hair up my nose or something, but Amir Garrett, for whatever reason, I just have this gut feeling, Mike. Maybe day after night game, you're going to see some bench players. The dude has potential. We've seen what he can do. Obviously, his past starts have not been good. He's given up a ton of home runs, right? So I'm not saying he's safe at all. 4,900 on DraftKings, though, you can get him with Cueto really, really easily. I've seen crazier things. We know the Padres strike out. Dylan Covey has had good games versus him. Just throwing it out there. I'm not sure where I'm going to go yet, but Amir Garrett, I'm looking at.
The matchup, right? It definitely makes you turn your head. I mean, crazy. The Reds, like fans and ownership, is about to bow down to this dude after 3 starts, and then the league kind of caught up to that curveball. But I mean, I look at it in the opposite sense. I mean, we're looking at a team that likes to hit home runs, and Amir Garrett has given up 10 home runs in the last 12 2/3 innings. That's almost a home run an inning.
It's not good. Him and Bronson Arroyo are probably working out together.
Yeah, they're watching whatever jazzercise video or something. I don't know. Yeah, they both like to give up some home runs. So we saw with Bronson Arroyo how that worked out for him against San Diego. I don't know. It's a 3-game slate. I think that seemingly is probably going to be the chalk if you look at it. Cueto with San Diego bats. Sometimes these things are too easy, and in that sense, maybe in a tournament you look elsewhere.
I'm just saying. I mean, crazier shit has happened.
Yeah, that's true. And then this is all FanDuel's perspective on DraftKings. I think those are my 2 pitchers, Cueto and Chacin. Looking at it, here tonight.
Yeah. So Padres, if you're stacking them again, I imagine we don't see Franchi Cordero tomorrow, lefty versus lefty. So Perella, however you want to say his name. He's still 2,600 on FanDuel. If you're going to attack Garrett, I don't see any reason why he doesn't play and why you don't play him. Myers, Renfroe, Hedges. I think
they probably slide Solarte up there.
Yep, to the 2-hole. So
yeah. Be interesting what they do. I mean, both these teams' benches are pretty bad, so
yeah.
I don't know how much of the benches they want to do. Maybe they're like wait for the other guys lineup. Like no, you put yours out first, man.
They're like the Pirates are the most frustrating team. They wait until like an hour before lock to give out their lineup, or an hour before they play. And then there's teams like the Reds and the Royals who I love because all I have to do is hit the confirm button. I don't even have to change anything.
Yeah, Clint Hurdle's a sneaky mofo, man.
Kansas City, San Fran, we got Johnny Cueto, Jason Hamill. Jason Hamill's put together, if I'm not mistaken, 2 straight good starts. We've talked about stacking against him both starts, and it's bitten us in the ass.
Yeah, it reminds me of Mike Fiers.
Dude, what? God damn. So, I have a personal vendetta versus Mike Fiers. I don't know if I've told this story. This was like 3-4 years ago. It was when Mike Fiers threw his no-hitter. I'm in the fantasy, I think it was either the game to get to the championship. It was on a Saturday, and I remember this vividly. Game to get to the championship or the championship itself. Obviously, a ton of money on the line. In my football leagues, we play $150 buy-ins, or baseball, I'm sorry. This dude goes out and throws a no-hitter, and I lose because he gets pitching is like just whatever valued. And God, I've never forgiven him for that, and it's so gratifying to see how ass he's been this year. But then all of a sudden, I'm like stack against him, and he's like, ha.
This is great to know, man. I'm going to continue to bring this up, by the way.
That Dikembe Mutombo just finger wag in my face as I try and stack against him.
I'm going to continue to bring this up. This is great. You don't like Mike Fiers. I don't like him either. He's kind of lost me some money. But I don't like this guy, Jason Hamill, either, because I continue to mention he works entirely too slow. just boring baseball to watch when you watch him pitch. He generally he's a fly ball pitcher. In a nice ballpark to be a fly ball pitcher. Obviously, the wind was blowing out today. We'll have to check on that tomorrow. But 7,800 for Jason Hamill.
It's an environment of the park, in my opinion.
He might as well be invisible to me.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But I mean, I don't know that people will feel that strongly. I think San Francisco is that bad.
Yay. They're a joy to watch, man.
I guess if you're playing DFS against them, they are.
Yep. Vargas went out, had a nice game today. But what about... Okay, I think this is going to be a bat fade for me again in this game. I just don't like the park. I agree with you that Hamill's not good, but the bats on the Giants side are worse. And Cueto is very good. In fact, his home numbers are actually pretty good. He's only allowed one home run, if I'm not mistaken, all year at home. Royals aren't exactly a home run team. Whether I pitch Cueto is a different story, but I don't think I stack against him.
Yeah, I don't think that's probably a smart move. Definitely contrarian move. Definitely not.
I'd rather play Garrett than stack against Cueto.
The Giants have scored 3 runs or less in 4 out of the last 5 games.
Fire.
They are
offense to be reckoned with.
In fuego.
I don't see how we don't win the World Series this year.
Yeah.
And then Atlanta, Washington. Bro, Bryce Harper. 7 career home runs versus Julio Teheran.
That's all?
Nothing,
man.
I believe the only other pitcher he has that kind of success on, or that great of a success, and it might be more, is Tom Kohler, who I believe he either has 7 or 8 off of versus him as well. So
the toilet.
Yeah. So Bryce versus Teheran might be lock. I'm not a big proponent of BVP, you know that, but that's hard to ignore, those kind of numbers. It's also hard to ignore Teheran's numbers versus lefties. Bryce fits that profile, being a lefty. Brian Goodwin is 2,500 if he plays tomorrow. I'd imagine he does versus a righty instead of Ryan Rayburn. So if that's a 2-3 order, I like that because that playing Brian Goodwin actually makes Bryce affordable in terms of overall salary cap on FanDuel. And then Daniel Murphy hit a home. He did hit a home run today.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt Wieters, 2,500, put up a respectable game today as well. I think there is some Nat stack today that is actually pretty affordable. And Ryan Zimmerman, man, so again, we value the BVP versus knuckleballers. He had 2 career home runs versus Dickey. Goes out and hits another 2 today. You either hit the knuckleball or you don't. Zimmerman does.
Not affordable on DraftKings. The 3 highest priced pitcher or hitters on this entire 3-game slate are Nationals: Turner, Harper, Zimmerman. And let me make sure that's correct. It's Turner, Harper, Votto, Zimmerman. My bad.
Yeah.
But still.
Also, fun fact, Bryce has already homered twice off of Teheran this year, one being a grand slam in Sun Life Park. Is that the name of the Atlanta stadium?
So
SunTrust.
my man is sleeping nice right now. He is just snoozing away, waiting for tomorrow.
So, no. With that said, don't play Teheran. And then what about Tanner Roark versus this Atlanta team who's swinging the bat really well? But Tanner Roark had a nice start last time. He's not a guy that gives up a ton of home runs. Does have a home run problem versus some lefties. So maybe Matt Adams I look at. Rio Ruiz again is cheap. Ender Inciarte got a little bit of pop, but great on base guy.
Yeah, I think he's a good little pivot. Just because it's a 3-game slate, and this guy, he goes the distance, man. He doesn't generally get rocked. He did have a little rough stretch there, that start against Philly, and then the one right after was Pittsburgh. But he's kind of cleaned up his act a bit, and for the most part, he's going to give you, a 100-pitch performance, take you to the 6th or 7th inning on most days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Against Atlanta this year, hasn't faced him, so interesting.
Dansby Swanson got
team
cheaper.
That faces a lot. Why? What's happening?
On DraftKings.
Oh, for real?
He's 3,300 now.
Yeah, I guess he did have that one bad game yesterday.
Swanson Ruiz 2-man tomorrow again.
I hope they still ride with Ruiz, man. He looks like he's got it.
I'm telling you, I like that. Especially on FanDuel, that 2-man's way too cheap. I'm going to do it again tomorrow. And if they play Flowers again, I doubt they do night game after day game. But Kurt Suzuki's not a bad punt either. And then Matt Adams is a little overpriced, 3,100. They rose his price up $600 today on FanDuel. But Matt
I'd rather play Kemp for the exact same price.
Yeah. So, I'm telling you, man, Swanson Ruiz 2-man. I can go right back there again.
I think Nets are going to be the chalk in this 3-game slate.
I agree. And I would venture to say you'll see more Nats Chassin lines on FanDuel than Cueto Padres.
It's fair. It's going to be probably a combination of both on DraftKings, you know?
Yeah. All right, so I guess let's do 2 pitchers. Who are your 2 pitchers on early? Mine's Chassin and Cueto, no doubt. Oh,
yeah.
Stream just died. That's fucking beautiful.
We're not live?
Now we are. Now it's resuming.
Word.
Let's make sure it's back up.
Hot takes.
There we go. Okay. All right, so Cueto, Chassin for me. And then 2 to attack. Tehran, obviously. And I'll say Amir Garrett, but still undecided as if I'm going to play him.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page here, man. Wait for these lineups to come out, see who's paired up, see what this day game after night game gives us, and then go from there. I think you guys know the deal from here, from now on, or at this point.
Yeah. Hold on, Mike. I'm going to call you back on Skype because I think that's what's killing the connection.
Fine.
These tools are for you to use. Let's see. Yep, that does.
What's up?
Hi.
Are we live?
Facts.
I'm checking on my phone right now.
Yeah, we are. All right, so on to the main. Boston, Philly, Brian Johnson. They're going to do this little, I hate this stupid thing, the 2-man or the 2-game in each park where they flip. So Boston's going to Philly tomorrow. Brian Johnson and Jeremy Hellickson. Think you can attack some Jeremy Hellickson tomorrow?
Yeah. Home and home here with this Boston-Philly matchup. 2 games on each park, I think, is how they're doing it.
And then, worth mentioning, sorry, I wanted to say this real quick.
Yeah.
Phillies, Jeremy talked about that on the Lock Show today, how they have the highest ISO as a team versus left-handed pitching. Now, I don't know that naturally you would have stacked Phillies against Price. He didn't exactly pitch well, but I don't equate Johnson to Price's level. So, might be the day or the game where they kind of put that stat to use.
Yeah, and you can see, I mean, traditional to handedness, Johnson is much, much worse versus righties and lefties. This will make his 4th start, I believe. Hasn't looked terrible. He's coming off probably his worst start out of the 3. He does have like a slate killing start in those 3. So he's shown the potential enough to make a 4th start on a contending team. Philly is not a great matchup. Aaron Altier hit one out of the entire stadium today off David Price. Adubo Herrera is having one of the best Junes of any player in the NL.
Also, reverse splits guy hits lefties better than righties this year.
No, I could see it, man. I could see that there's something to look at here. I mean, fly ball pitcher, it's a team that, does kind of put a lot into those swings.
Yep.
Hit a lot of fly balls, so.
Altier hit a home run today. He's still 2,900 on FanDuel. I think that's a bargain.
As I said, it went out of the stadium, man. It wasn't even a home run. It was a freaking moonshot.
Cameron Rupp, still 2K, minimum salary. So
he got a hit today.
Yep. I think there are, again, Brian Johnson is not quite David Price to me, so I think you'll see that ISO stat possibly come into play tomorrow, and you'll see some power on this Phillies team. Maybe just pick some home runs, but Altier. If I had to pick one player, it'd be Altier. I like a three-man, actually, of Herrera, Kendrick, Altier if they all play.
Yep, I think Altier is the best player on that team.
Facts. And remember, he wasn't even starting at the beginning of the year. I was so happy when he came into that starting lineup. I remember watching him it was either last year or the year before when he was starting to kind of burst onto the scene, or at least get some playing time. So.
And then Jeremy Hellickson has a home run problem and a walk problem. So.
Good combination.
Yeah, especially against a disciplined team. Moreland stays hot. Hit another home run today. Played a lot of bets. I don't think that worked out for me. I stopped looking at my lineups at some point during the day. But yeah, I mean, we talk about Boston not hitting home runs, but it'll come. And yeah, I think it's something you can look at, just targeting Hellickson tomorrow.
Cool.
So maybe a game stack in Philly.
What about Colorado, Pittsburgh? Herman Marquez versus Pirates team. I think that's an intriguing play to look at. I would say, other than Jeff Hoffman, the highest K upside on the Rockies.
Okay. Yeah. You're probably right. I mean, they don't have a lot of K upside type of guys.
They're definitely built more ground ball.
Remember, this guy wasn't really in their plans. He kind of forced his way in by playing well. Coming off a start in Chicago. I don't know why this start was cut short. Maybe something happened. He did go 80 pitches in 3 innings, only gave up 2 hits, 1 run. So that's weird. But Pittsburgh, we like to target more with lefties, right? So maybe, I think maybe Pittsburgh's in play. I mean, I don't think I fade McCutcheon at this point. His price hasn't moved. He's just destroying.
No. You play Pittsburgh versus lefties. They kill lefties.
Okay, so we target Pittsburgh as a stack versus lefties, but
exactly.
Still, I don't think I fade McCutcheon with what he's been doing. I don't care if it's a lefty or an octopus.
On Skype, the internet's messing up again. I don't know if it's. Are you close to your router? Can you reset it at all?
I don't even know where the hell it is.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Sorry.
Hold on. Let me reset that. Yeah, it definitely unfreezes when I hang up the Skype, so we'll try and see if this fixes it. But
yeah, sorry, I don't know where it is, to be honest with you. I think it's probably in the closet.
It's all good. Yeah, it's super laggy right now.
I could go look for it if that helps. If you want to keep talking,
all right,
it's okay with me, man.
All right, I'll do that.
All right.
All right, so Mike's gonna go find his router. He's at the beach house right now, so that's why. Again, I think you can attack Pittsburgh with Marquez. I don't know that he's my number one pitcher, but definitely looking there. And then attacking Chad Kuhl, not been good at home this year at all. Has a home run problem with lefties, high fly ball rate, high hard contact. I'm looking at Charlie Blackmon, obviously, if I want to pay up there. Mark Reynolds is definitely still in play on FanDuel for 4K. And then Cargo, again, he's not great this year at all, but if he plays tomorrow, he still has home run upside. And for his price at 2,800, maybe you play him for the potential upside in that. I don't know. We know what Cargo can do. It's just a matter of if he will do it. So, and then Tony Walters, 2,800 is a catcher. There's worse players. Tampa and Toronto. So only 3 teams in the entire league strike out more versus lefties than Tampa does. They're obviously a high strikeout team as is. Pair them with a lefty pitcher, and it's not usually a good recipe for success. Pair that with the fact that Francisco Liriano absolutely owns lefties, He's given up 22% hard contact, 22% fly balls, has not given up a home run to a lefty this year, striking them out over 35% of the time. The only power that I see on the right-hand side is Steven Souza Jr. You could say Derek Norris, too. Derek Norris absolutely has some power. And then Evan Longoria's mad cold. I guess you could look there. But we all know the upside power is on the left-handed side for Tampa. And so I think Liriano could absolutely be in play. This team did kill him for what it's worth. I believe his first start of the year, it was in Tampa. But I think he's already played this team twice this year, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm definitely looking at Liriano. And on DraftKings, as Josh said, he is mad cheap. So I think he could be a steal tomorrow. So I'm definitely looking there. Needless to say, not looking to stack Tampa. And then attacking Jake Odorizzi with Toronto in Toronto. Reverse splits guy in terms of hard contact, giving up twice as much hard contact versus righties as lefties. Twice as many home runs as well. You look at Donaldson, Batista. Smoke is ridiculous this year, even though he's from the left-hand side. Tulo's 2,700 on FanDuel, and Russell Martin is 2,300. So some potential value there. Kevin Pillar, don't forget about him either. Granted, of course, it depends on the lineup, but I think Odorizzi is someone you can attack tomorrow. This Toronto team, I think, is heating up a little bit. Obviously, up and down, but I think they're on the cusp of getting back to the Toronto we all expect coming into the year. All right, so I was talking to Mike about this game before we got on the show. Now, bear with me here. Jordan Zimmerman, awful, right? Arguably one of the worst pitchers this year, not only on the slate, but of this year. Arizona is the worst team in the league on the road. Their home road splits are absolutely crazy. They're number 1 in the league at home, number 30 on the road. Now, they did put up 7 runs tonight. You can use that as an outlier. I'm not saying I'm going to pitch Jordan Zimmerman tomorrow, but I don't know that I attack him with Arizona on initial thoughts. And I think Arizona will be chalk tomorrow. So, and we talk about good chalk, bad chalk. We know Arizona's offense is potent, but I don't know if this is the spot that I want them to be chalk. And if they are in fact chalk, if I see Jordan Zimmerman as the gas can of the night candidate or anything like that, that will kind of solidify the idea that Arizona's chalk, and I think that becomes an immediate fade for me. I'm not saying Zimmerman's great, but he has had 2 quality starts in a row. It's not the matchup I want. And then to be contrarian, Taijuan Walker has not had a rehab start. In fact, he only threw a simulated game, 64 pitches versus some minor league players. I don't know how ready he is to come back and, how rusty he could be. But a Detroit stack to counter the potential Arizona stack could be intriguing. Taijuan Walker hasn't been amazing this year. He's shown blow-up potential, and Detroit hits the ball mad hard. They can put up runs in a hurry. JD, another home run today. Justin Upton, Nick Castellanos. Again, I'm looking at all these guys here. Alex Avila. So I think a Detroit stack could be contrarian, but also could be the better play of the two. Los Angeles, Cleveland, Brandon McCarthy, Corey Kluber. Again, Corey Kluber, his strikeout stuff is real. Absolutely owns righties in terms of strikeouts, but as most strikeout pitchers do, has the potential to give up some home runs. He's been at 42% hard contact, 40% fly ball rate, over a home run per 9 to each side of the plate. So I think you can find some home runs here. Cody Bellinger comes to mind. Dude is mad hot. Hit another 2 jacks today. Chase Utley, if he leads off again on FanDuel, I think he's a play. DraftKings 3,900 is too expensive for what he does. Corey Seager, you always got to look there. Yasmani Grandal. Chris Taylor's 2,700 on FanDuel. I think you can look there. So, I don't. It's going to be interesting. I'm not 100% determined or made up my mind where I want to go yet. But both sides, I think, have potential. Kluber can go out and dominate. I think I'll always give the edge to a pitcher in terms of if I'm gonna pick, right, good pitcher versus good batter. I'll typically give the matchup to the pitcher. Just kind of the way in baseball, three hits out of 10 is considered good. So 7 out of the 10 times a pitcher is going to get you out, I think I just tend to give that matchup there. With the K upside, I don't know if I pitch Kluber, but interesting to stack against him. And then McCarthy, he's pitched amazing this year. His StatCast numbers are off the chart. He's given up under 85. His average exit velocity against him is under 85 miles an hour, under 25% 95 plus rate, and only a 2% barreled ball rate. Not someone that screams attack. This Cleveland team obviously hits lefties a ton better than righties. But, oh man. I don't know. I think this might be a bat fade for me across the entire game. I don't know if I stack either side, to be honest with you. I think Bellinger, even with Kluber, can be a good one-off. I probably look at Lindor, maybe Santana, Encarnacion's heating up a little bit. Maybe look there against McCarthy, but I don't think I full stack either side here. Chicago and New York. Chicago has opened up as the early favorite, and initial money has already started to come in on them. And I think this Mets versus lefty thing is, a real problem. A lot of their bats are left-handed. You'll probably see Cespedes and Flores in there. But after that, Neil Walker can hit lefties, not as good as he can hit righties. Or not as well, I should say. Travis d'Arnaud still has pop. But it's obvious, Conforto, Bruce, Duda, Granderson. Cabrera's better from the left. Jose Reyes is better from the left. Not that he has much power anymore. Walker's better from the left. And Montgomery's done a really, really, really nice job this year. He's, of course, long relief guy. He has started before. He made a spot start last time. Going to get a second one here. 20% fly ball rate. That's enticing. 28% hard contact. And his StatCast numbers are good. Again, under 85 miles per hour average exit velocity. Under 25% 95 plus rate. Oh, that's right. Asdrubal Cabrera is going to the DL. Good point. I forgot that. So I think Montgomery, I don't know if he's necessarily in play on 50. On DraftKings at 5,300, that's an enticing price. If you're just looking to get maybe 15 points from him, I think that's doable. But I'm definitely not stacking against him. And then Matt Harvey, we can attack there, man. Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, Ian Happ. I'll be interested to see if they put Rizzo back at the top of that order again. Madden's trying some crazy things, and I always like putting the best hitter at the top of your lineup. Or, I'm sorry, the best on-base guy. Cleveland did that with Carlos Santana for a long time. I like that. They did it with Kyle Schwarber, who was great at getting on base last year. Or the year before, I should say. But Schwarber's down again in price, 2,400. I'm going to continue to ride that train. Home run or nothing, but when he gets it, and if he doesn't, it doesn't really kill me. Ian Happ is still 2,800 on FanDuel. Going to ride that again if he plays. And pairing those two guys, that allows you to get Rizzo or Bryant. Also, Jason Hayward hit a home run today. He's 2,800. I think there's pop in this lineup. Matt Harvey's not good. So maybe somewhere we look. Seattle, Minnesota, I don't think this is going to be a game stack tomorrow like the last two games. Sam Gaviglio is attackable, though. Sano got the day off. Expect him to be back tomorrow. I like that spot for him. Max Kepler stayed hot. Brian Dozier had a good game. Jason Castro had a really, really good game. Kenny Vargas, interesting. Carlos Ruiz, the catcher, came in to pitch for Seattle today in the 8th or 9th inning, and he struck out Kenny Vargas. Not that that has any significance on anything here, but side note, that's got to be embarrassing going back to the dugout and knowing that you just got struck out by a catcher. So, but anyways, against Gaviglio, I think he can be attacked. I think we can look to the Minnesota bats again. Sano, Vargas, Kepler, Dozier, your typical. Jason Castro, a little expensive on FanDuel, but 3,400 on DraftKings I think is doable. So I'm looking there. And then attacking Santana, I don't think that's a good option. I'm not going to do it. Just Seattle hits righties better than lefties, that's true, but I don't think I'd go there. Santana's not giving up hard contact at all this year, so even when the balls are hitting the air, they're not going anywhere, right? So I think it's important to realize that as well. Even though he has a high fly ball rate, if the fly balls aren't getting hit hard, they're automatic outs. So I'm not going to stack against Santana. We have Francis Martez making his first start, if I'm not mistaken here. Irvin due for some serious regression. I don't know, man. I've been saying that for a while, and he just hasn't done it yet. I'm kind of to that point where, is this, legit? So I've been saying Irvin's due for regression for a while. I didn't think he was this good, and he's pitching lights out. 3 complete game shutouts this year. 3. I don't believe any other pitcher had... No, I think there's only one other pitcher that has 2. So the dude is ridiculous, and he's mad efficient with his pitches. I believe 2 of those complete games he had under 100 pitches thrown. Yeah, I don't know, man. And I agree, Jeremy, you don't just figure it out at 36. That's true. But then again, Santana actually had a good start to his career. I don't know, man. Maybe he's changed his pitching style. Yo.
I am back. Goodness
dude?
gracious, man. Dude, I just ran to the other side of the world.
We were just talking about Santana, and Jeremy brought up a point of regression, right? And I was talking about how I've been thinking that he was due for regression for 2 months. But, I'm to the point where I'm thinking, what point do we stop saying he's due for regression and maybe just consider that he's having a good year? It's hard to figure out because, again, he's never done what he's doing right now.
Let's put it this way. I listened to entirely too much baseball stuff, but somewhere along the lines I heard someone say before his last start that only one pitcher in the last 2 seasons has been top 30 in ERA and averaged less than 7 strikeouts per 9.
Yeah.
One guy. I don't know who that guy was, but only one guy in the last 2 seasons has been top 30 in ERA. So could he be the trendsetter in a sense? But how can you be not a strikeout pitcher really, and continue to induce that week of contact, for the course of an entire season?
Yeah, it's crazy. He's giving up 20% hard contact, and he has a high fly ball rate, but if the ball's not getting hit hard, it's not going to go anywhere.
Right. So I do agree. There's definitely going to be a few games where we see some regression.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm trying to get back to where we're at as far as the games. I'm pulling up the spreadsheet once again.
I'm on Texas-Houston right now. We were just talking about, obviously we were talking about Santana. There was, obviously a debate brought up there. And I can see both sides, man. Jeremy says he just got blown up by the Angels. Absolutely. But, I don't know, 2 months of relatively amazing performance. Again, 3 complete game shutouts. I don't know. Whether I pitch him or not is a different story, but I don't think I want to attack him.
That's fair.
And then Francis Martez,
yes.
sorry. And Andrew Kashner. Where are you looking here? I know you talked about Martez. He's gotten passed up a couple times in terms of the call-ups. He's not been exactly the guy they were hoping he was so far in AAA.
This season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tweeted out an article about what to expect from Baseball America, obviously the GOATs as far as prospects, highlighting what Martez has done up until this point of his Major League call-up. Worth a read. I'll just give you some spark notes, I guess. He is Baseball America's number 17 prospect in baseball. He's 0-2 with a 5.29 ERA and 8 starts in AAA Fresno. He's the Astros' number 1 prospect and the number 2 right-handed pitching prospect in all of baseball. 93 to 97 mile an hour fastball that touches 100. He has strikeout stuff. Let's pull up some numbers. I had them pulled up, but that happened. Anyway, when I like to pay down, I like it to be guys that we haven't seen his upside. You know what I mean? Like we talked today with Peacock and Feldman. We know Feldman is. Peacock could potentially be a great pitcher. We just don't know yet. So when it comes to paying down to my pitching, I like it to be prospects, young guys that we haven't seen their upside. So I'll give that from a DFS perspective as I pull these numbers up.
Solid. For what it's worth, Texas is just striking out a ton this year.
Yeah, saw Peacock what he did.
Yeah, they're strikeout heavy team. Odor did hit 2 home runs today. That's worth noting. But again, I don't know where I'm at with this game yet in terms of playing Francis Martez. It is intriguing from a obviously unknown standpoint. And then Andrew Kashner, he's not been amazing this year, but he's not getting blown up either. Talk about him being lucky all year, but continues to not get blown up.
Yeah, I mean, his fly ball rate's okay. His hard contact rate, okay. He's not striking people out. He's also not walking people. Seems like a okay guy, you know?
Yeah, I don't necessarily know that I rush to attack him, but, I mean, I'm definitely not playing him. But I don't know if he's the guy I just rush to attack or rush to stack against.
Yeah, but I agree. I don't want to rush to stack against him either. But definitely some unknowns in this game. You know, I think Kashner seemingly hasn't had that blow up spot yet. I think it's coming. I mean, Houston is definitely a lineup that can give it to him. They got their top guy on the mound. I think I play into that a little bit. Now, Odor was a double dong today. Lucroy is heating up. If you don't believe me, check the numbers in his last 75 plate appearances. The dude's getting back to his thing after his really rough first 6 weeks of the season. So definitely some cause for concern for both these lineups, but also with both these pitchers.
Baltimore, Chicago, Miguel Gonzalez. You said he's pitched against Baltimore twice this year?
I only saw one start, obviously he spent the majority of his career in Baltimore.
Yep.
He didn't pitch bad. I think it was a quality start at Baltimore, the one I did see. And Baltimore is struggling, man.
They are.
I always say this team is not as good as they end up being every year. I stacked a lot of Baltimore bats today, so maybe I'm a little bit biased. So it didn't work out well.
So So would you pitch Miguel Gonzalez, or is he just not a guy you're going to stack against?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I mean, his price on DraftKings, it's like I'd rather just kind of take a shot at Martez if I'm going to really pay all the way down there. I believe it's a low price. Again, I don't have it in front of me. Let me look.
And then what about
as I pull this back up?
What about Bundy? He's intriguing versus Chicago.
He is. Seemingly an up and down guy like the rest of the pitching staff. You know, throw Tillman, Wiley, Gosman. Such an up and down thing. They all seemingly have walk problems. The White Sox have been hitting well. I mean, Abreu, Avi Garcia put 2 good games together. Davidson, 2 straight games with a home run. Enough. Yeah. Enough though to me to not want to take a chance on Miley. But, I mean, I don't know what games that you have already went through, but there really isn't much to love at pitching today.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. That's why I was looking at Santana.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I think you have to consider Santana.
And then,
He's comes in as third on the slate as far as price.
And then, so the other guy we were looking at is Mike Leake versus Milwaukee. Definitely shifting parks helps him playing in St. Louis instead of Milwaukee, right, in terms of whether I would play him against Milwaukee. They do strike out a ton. Mike Leake, not the highest K upside guy, but he is striking out righties at a clip of 25%. There are quite a few power righties in this lineup. I don't know. I think there's worse plays, and on this slate with limited pitching options, I don't think he's the worst guy, especially at 6,800 on DraftKings.
Yeah, that's the thing, the price, right? You're looking at 5-6 Ks tomorrow, even against a team that strikes out a lot. He's a ground ball pitcher against a team that doesn't like to hit the ball on the ground. But he's not a strikeout pitcher against a team that likes to strike out a lot. So someone's got to give. They've already faced each other this year. It was in Milwaukee. He pitched a quality start, 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, 6 strikeouts, 3 walks. So seems like a nice little barometer, you know. That was a 22 DraftKings performance game. I put the over. If you set that as the over/under, you know, kind of make your bets there.
Yeah, oh, with that. But 6,800 is a very nice price for him for potentially a good outing.
Yeah, no, I think so.
Matt Garza, I don't know what I want to do here yet because St. Louis is not exactly a high-powered offense, but Matt Garza's not exactly a high-powered pitcher. I mean, this kind of feels like the theme of the slate, doesn't it? What gives, right? You're pairing average pitching with average hitters. You know, which side is going to budge? And he's been bad versus lefties, but maybe Carpenter, Fowler, 2-man, and that's it.
Yeah, it's not really a game you're like rushing to look at bats, right?
Yeah.
Cardinals have always been a tough team for me all year to pinpoint, you know, what bats I want in a good spot. I don't know how you feel about it, but I always kind of get that feeling, you know. When they're in a good spot, you generally have to pay a little bit more than you want to, and they're a tough team to go there. So I think they are in a good spot. Garza, for what it's worth, is coming off the 10-day DL for this game. He missed 1 start.
Yeah.
With a chest contusion. Curious how that happened. He's pitching to a 3.83 RA, but I guarantee his xFIP is much higher than that, just based on what he's been doing. Yeah, so I think you can definitely go after him. Fly ball numbers in his career. So
I'm with you, man. And then finally, we own one late game, and it's New York and LA. Michael Pineda and Matt Shoemaker.
Game's still going on.
I'll let the resident Yankee fan talk about Pineda before I give you an unbiased opinion. JK, Mike, JK.
Man, dude, when I was out waiting for the internet to come back, the Yankees left the bases loaded in the top of the 10th. They had bases loaded with 1 out. They walked Headley to get to Carter, and seemed like turned out to be the smart move.
Carter's amazing, dude. I wish the Giants had Carter.
Man, dude makes me want to pull my hair out. He's just bad. Yeah, so let's talk about this game. Shoemaker.
K upside, man. K upside, but high fly ball rate versus a team that hits a ton of fly balls. Aaron Judge, 42% of his fly balls are home runs. That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It is. That's not his fly ball percentage.
That's home runs that he out of the fly balls he hits. How many end up a home run? I know he's okay at hitting the ball hard. Sometimes he hits it hard and it leaves the stadium. But
Shoemaker's priced down a lot on DraftKings as well. It's 6,300 after 3 straight starts where, you know, the long ball has kind of got to him. The dude has good stuff. There's no denying it. he kind of figured it out last year. He wasn't a good pitcher until last year, if you recall. I mean, he was in and out of the starting rotation. I think they sent him down last year at some point, and now I think he developed another pitch or something, came back, was lights out at the end of the year, and now he looks good to start the year. But so the Yanks, no denying the numbers. The ball goes in the air. The Yanks like to hit for power, and he does tend to walk people as well. It's not like
not the team you want to put guys on for free with.
Right, and the Yankees do tend to walk a good deal. So I'm definitely not pitching Shoemaker. I think you can look at the Yankees, and then Pineda is, again, the ultimate. Oh, man, the Yankees just lost.
Bet.
The ball hit the pitcher in the butt.
Vegas was
and that's
right
how they
again.
lost.
Vegas was right again.
That's how they lost.
I don't care more about the fact that the Yankees lost. I just care that Vegas was right, because that just solidifies what I'm doing. Anyways.
There's no way Vegas could have predicted that.
Mike, Vegas is ridiculous. They know these things. Trust me. That probably was a foregone conclusion.
The 12th inning line drive off the pitcher's butt.
Facts.
So Pineda,
Angels have been
GVP
hitting righties
guy,
hard.
Always.
Angels have been hitting righties hard, and
they got to hit his bat.
Well, yeah, I agree. That's the thing, right? Is Pineda swinging strike, great numbers. So again, GPP, he can get blown up or he can be lights out.
That's right. And I think he's probably has the highest upside of this entire slate of any pitcher.
It's fair. All right, so I'll let you do a little. Give me your three pitchers. I'll let you go first. I don't know if you have any that I talked about that obviously you weren't on here for, but give me your three pitchers that you want to play and three you want to attack.
Okay. I would rather play Pineda over Kluber. Save me $1,400. I like both those plays, but I'm going to choose Pineda. I'm not going to choose both,
Mm-hmm.
I think that makes it a little too easy. And I don't think you can really afford to pay both on this slate. We'll see. I guess we'll see when the lineups come out on DraftKings. But yeah, I'd rather go Pineda over Kluber against the Angels. I like Jake Odorizzi against the Toronto Blue Jays. I don't know if you guys talked about that at all.
I don't like Odorizzi.
I just like what he's done recently against the Blue Jays. 2 straight quality starts against them. Both were in Toronto. And he's coming off his best performance of the year, striking out 8 White Sox.
Yep.
So that's where I'm at with that. I like Santana. I just don't know how much I like his price at 10-3. I think, and in every situation, I'd rather find the $800 to pay up to Pineda.
That's fair.
And then the third guy I want to throw. Let me try to find someone cheaper. I'm really not good at this. Finding a cheaper guy.
I'll do this then. I'm looking at
Leak. Leak. Let's do that.
There you go. That was my guy. So I'm looking at Santana. Maybe not my number one guy, but in order of price, Santana, Pineda, and Leak for me are the three. And if you want to be super, 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 super contrarian, Jordan Zimmerman maybe gets you a quality start tomorrow for, what is his price at? $4,900 on DraftKings?
It's less than that.
Perfect.
It's $4,200.
Perfect. He's had 2 straight quality starts. Arizona's terrible on the road. Just saying, weirder shit has happened. Maybe it's an Amir Garrett, Jordan Zimmerman day.
I'd rather start a closer.
I might have to deposit on DK just to play Jordan Zimmerman tomorrow.
Kyle's playing Jordan Zimmerman in the DK free roll. It's a lock.
I will do that. I promise you that. And then who I'm attacking, I'm going to attack Matt Harvey with Chicago bats. I'm going to attack Sam Gaviglio with some Minnesota bats. And I'm going to attack Matt Shoemaker with Yankee bats.
Cool. I always like to hear that. You know me. I would also like to attack Sam Gaviglio with Minnesota bats. Kind of back and forth in the Chicago Mets game. Obviously, the lefty against the Mets isn't ideal. So, you said Harvey too, right?
I'm attacking Harvey with Chicago, absolutely.
I think I'm on board with that as well. Is it crazy to want to go back to Baltimore after they just burned me this bad?
No. They know Miguel Gonzalez.
Yeah, they know each other, that's for sure.
I was going to say, you can argue it either way, really.
I'll just go from an argumentative standpoint. I'll say I want to target Jordan Zimmerman just to light some fire. Yeah, they are. Yeah, yeah. We talked about that prior to the show. Yeah, I think that's smart from a contrarian perspective. Tried out for the U.S. Open. Yeah, he was. That's right. I gladly will. um, Definitely a good opportunity, man. Watch the golf show, see what you like. See if you like what you hear. If you're part of the group, go in there, check out the stats we talked about in the spreadsheet and in the projections or the analytics. Not really projections, but the more the analytics we've come up with, and build a lineup, put it in the free roll, see what it does, and kind of go from there. That's kind of how I started. I mean, I started playing DFS golf in February, I believe. Actually, no, January. And that's how we started. I started playing the free roll, kind of listening to these guys, picking their brain. And I felt like it's become a good way to just add some extra money on the weekend so I can play some more of the other sports.